Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Sejanus, his fall, and we get to hear from Sejanus today to kick off Act 2, Scene 2. Now, Sejanus has managed to steal Livia away from Drusus, and they are plotting to poison Drusus as like step one in the plan to get Sejanus to be the new emperor. But he was summoned by the emperor Tiberius, and as he was leaving to go there, Livia is like, careful, because he doesn't actually like you. So if he pretends to be your friend, just keep in the back of your mind, he doesn't actually like you. So Sejanus has gone off to do that. Meanwhile, Livia and Eudemus are going to have a spa day and make some poison, because that's what you do when your husband's out on vacation, right? Or off on a business trip. So anyway, Sejanus, we are now in Rome. We are in court. Sejanus has gone to see Tiberius, and he's like in a room sort of waiting for Tiberius to show up or summon him or whatever. So he's on the stage by himself, and he kicks off the scene saying, "If this be not revenge, when I have done and made it perfect, let Egyptian slaves, Parthians, and barefoot Hebrews brand my face and print my body full of injuries. Thou lost thyself, child Drusus, when thou thought'st thou couldst outskip my vengeance, or outstand the power I had to crush thee into air. Thy follies now shall taste what kind of man they have provoked, and this, thy father's house, crack in the flame of my incensed rage, whose fury shall admit no shame or mean. Adultery? It is the lightest ill I will commit. A race of wicked acts shall flow out of my anger and o'erspread the world's wide face, which no posterity shall e'er approve, nor yet keep silent. Things that for their cunning, close and cruel mark thy father would wish his, and shall perhaps carry the empty name, but we the prize. On then, my soul, and start not in thy course. Though heaven drop sulphur and hell belch out fire, laugh at the idle terrors. Tell proud Jove, between his power and thine, there is no odds. 'Twas only fear first in the world made gods." So there's a lot to unpack here, and this is way more than just like, twirling the mustache and plotting evil deeds. This is like full-blown, Ursula at the end of The Little Mermaid, growing to be massive and just striking down the boats and creating the tempests and all that sort of stuff. He is full-on revenge mode, and he doesn't care what it takes to get there. He's like, if this isn't revenge, then all of my enemies can just beat me to a bloody pulp. That's fine. And then a lot of this monologue is directed at Drusus and his rage at Drusus. Remember, Drusus slapped him in public, drew his sword, and threatened to crucify him. And he didn't really like Drusus much to begin with anyway, but that incident, he's like, you silly little child. He calls him child Drusus. He's like, you silly little child that thinks you got away from it. You have no idea the fury that is going to rain down on you and your house because of that. He's like, I stole your wife. Like, that's the least bad thing that I'm going to do in all of this. I'm going to do all of the bad things. I'm going to do so many bad things that the world will never forget how many bad things that I've done. Your father, the emperor, is going to wish that he had done some of these bad things that I'm going to do. And maybe he'll get to, claim credit for like one or two, but I know that it was really me that did it. He's like, this is all mine. I'm just going to do some really, really awful things from here on out. And then the last two lines to me are particularly interesting because he says to the god Jove, he's like, there's really no difference in the amount of power that we have at this point. And that last line that he says, "'Twas only fear first in the world made gods," he's saying it's because people were afraid of things. They invented gods to give themselves some sense of comfort or some sense of reason. So he's maybe outing himself here as an atheist, somebody that doesn't believe in religion. And back in that time, if you didn't believe in religion, if you didn't believe in the gods, then what point was there in having any sort of moral compass? Where was anybody going to get any sort of morality? So this is very much laying it on thick that he is the traditional villain. He's evil kind of for evil's sake. He doesn't care who he hurts along the way, and he's not even religious. He doesn't believe in the gods. So we as an audience get to see a lot from Sejanus in this little bit, and it gives us maybe a little more insight into why the peanut gallery is not a fan of his to begin with. So anyway, after he has said this, Tiberius comes in and he's like, is Sejanus here yet? And Sejanus is like, right here. So Tiberius like dismisses his whole train because he wants to talk to Sejanus like one-on-one. And Tiberius starts out, he's like, okay, so I get the sense that if I'm supposed to be afraid of things, I should be afraid of the things that you're afraid of, right? Like the things that you bring to my attention are actual things that I need to be concerned about. And Sejanus is like, well, yeah, if you're the sort that gets scared. And Tiberius is like, so you're not scared about any of this? And Sejanus is like, no, because I know how to turn things around to my advantage. And Tiberius is like, okay, I understand what you're saying, but some of the things that you're hinting at go against the laws of nature and go against the laws of blood. And Sejanus is like, okay, but are those things forbidden by policy and by state? And Tiberius is like, no. And Sejanus is like, okay, so you lead the state, you create the policy, so why can't you do these things that are not against yourself? Like there's no reason not to. Like you as a leader of state can do whatever it is that you need or have to do. So Tiberius he's starting to like hear what Sejanus is saying and come a little bit over to Sejanus' side, but he's like, but if I do some of those things, the people are going to hate me. And Sejanus is like, you can't be an emperor and be concerned about people liking you. There's always going to be people that hate you. If you just want to be a people pleaser, then you shouldn't be in power. And he has this little monologue, which is really interesting because it's written with an A-B rhyme scheme. And we all know what happens when people start rhyming. It makes things more whimsical. It makes them more like full of mockery, I think, in this particular case, because he's talking about in this little rhyming monologue that's too short for this project, he's talking about how rulers can't be afraid to act and how they can't really listen to religion, which is interesting given the last line of the monologue that he had, and also that like rulers have to rule by the sword. And when this is done, Tiberius is like, okay, so I have permission to do bad things. And Sejanus is like, yup. And Tiberius is like, I'm guessing that you know who it is I want to do bad things to. And Sejanus is like, yup, the peanut gallery, who is actually technically not known as the peanut gallery. That's just how I've been referring to them up until this point. They are known as the Agrippa group or the Agrippina group. Agrippina was Germanicus' widow. So she's the mother of the three sons of Germanicus who are in line to become emperor once Tiberius is knocked out. Once Drusus is knocked out, then there's these three kids. So these three kids, Agrippina's three kids, are kind of on Sejanus' hit list, along with all of her followers, which include Silius, Sabinus, Aruntius, that whole crew that I've been referring to as the peanut gallery. They are the Agrippina group, and that is exactly who Tiberius and Sejanus are talking about at this point. Tiberius wants them gone. He's sort of afraid of them. And Sejanus calls this whole crew dangerous because they're angry about the fact that Germanicus was poisoned, and Tiberius is like, nobody's ever proved that he was poisoned, and Sejanus is like, yeah, but public opinion kind of wins on this one. Everybody thinks that he was, so they're just going with that story. And Tiberius is like, well, I can't really just banish three kids because they happen to have been Germanicus' sons. And Sejanus is like, okay, just wait and sit around and they'll assassinate you someday and then you can do something about it. And Tiberius is like, they're planning to assassinate me? And Sejanus is going to have a response to that in the form of a monologue that we will hear tomorrow. So I'll see you then. Mwah.